Greetings, loves. It is I, Tactical Girlfriend. Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody's doing well. Today, I'm going to be discussing chest rigs. Specifically, I'm going to be going over a couple of chest rigs that I have used, just speaking from my own experience about why I think chest rigs are important, what role they may serve you, and my thoughts on the ones that I have experience with. Alright, so first of all, why would you want a chest rig? Well, chest rigs greatly expand your capability in terms of carrying ammunition and various other items that you might need in whatever you're doing. Now, if you do need extra magazines for your guns, the belt line is where you're going to start every single time. However, the belt line is very limiting. There is only so much you can comfortably carry on your belt line. A chest rig actually allows you to carry much more. And that way, you can add to your belt line as it exists and greatly expand your capabilities by having a chest rig. Now, when it comes to chest rigs, people are going to be like, well, wait a minute, what about your plate carrier? Your plate carrier does everything that a chest rig does, and it also protects you to some degree or another. And that's completely true. Plate carriers are great. They're very in vogue, and for good reason. That being said, plate carriers are also very limiting. They are additional weight, they are constrictive, they don't allow you to breathe very well, and it's just generally really cumbersome and annoying to wear, and it fatigues you. So that being said, a chest rig is a great option for anybody who is trying to do any long-range patrols or hikes or anything where you are doing strenuous activity for a long period of time and you need to squeeze every little bit of endurance out of you and carry as little weight as possible. I go on hikes many times to some remote ranges out here, and that's exactly where I use a chest rig. I would never want to use a plate carrier if I could avoid it. A plate carrier is great if you're static, or if you're not moving for very much, or if you're in a vehicle. But if you're on the move for a long time, you're going to feel it. You're going to hate it. And a chest rig is very quickly going to be your number one go-to in this case. Now, with that being said, I personally also really like chest rigs because they oftentimes double as ammo placards. My plate carrier actually uses my chest rig as an ammo placard. I simply detach the straps from it and then attach it to the plate carrier. This way I have a very modular system. I can bounce back and forth between different setups and rigs, and I can do pretty much anything I want to do with a very nice limited amount of nylon gear. That way I can consolidate and I don't just have a bunch of tactical gear piling up, even though, yeah, I already do, but I need all the space I can get. So now with all that out of the way, let's actually talk about the specific chest rigs that I use. The first one, which I've used for many years, is the Hevalti Strategic D3 CRM Micro. This thing is extremely versatile, it's very modular, and it's perfect for minimalist scum like me. It's not too much and it's not too little. It's very well rounded, very functional, but it's definitely on the smaller side of chest rigs out there. There's much larger ones with greater carrying capacity, but I'm not a very big girl, and this honestly is just Goldilocks for me. Now, this is definitely one of those chest rigs that doubles very well as an ammo placard for a plate carrier. Specifically, if your plate carrier uses QASM or Swift clips, all you need to do is unbuckle your straps from this and plug this straight into those clips on your plate carrier. Also, it uses Velcro backing beyond this panel here, and this allows you to further secure it to your plate carrier on the Velcro that's on the surface, which most plate carriers do have. Also, this thing, in my experience, is just the right width for a lot of plate carriers. A lot of larger chest rigs tend to just be a little bit too wide, and they have all this awkward bit that just kind of flops over the sides and may need to be secured further with Swift clips on the sides. That's not really the case for this. That's why I've been using this for so long, because it fits on my plate carriers, and I've been using it ever since I've had plate carriers and will continue to do so for as long as this thing holds together. Moving on, let's talk about the most important part of the chest rig, and that's the ammo carrying capability. Specifically in this one, I have 5.56 AR magazines. There's 3 of them in the main compartment, and they're held in place by this group of different magazine cells, 3 of them. These Velcro internally into the Velcro lining inside of the chest rig, and inside of these cells is actually a Kydex retainer. This retainer creates enough pressure that pinches inwards on each of the magazines and prevents them from easily falling out. Now, this is within reason. There's no elastic straps that go over the magazines. Again, this is kind of a minimalist thing. Don't do cartwheels, don't go jumping out of airplanes and doing somersaults or hanging like a bat upside down from the ceiling at your local goth club. That's just not going to work. So be reasonable here, but these do the trick very well. Now, these are actually the older style cells. They do sell some kind of newer, more minimalist looking ones, but that being said, they all kind of work the same way. You can also get a few other different kinds of magazine cells. They do sell some for SMG mags, as well as for 7.62, which also fit AK mags, like these. Now, the problem with this that I have is that this kind of gets out of hand. These are not cheap, and before you know it, you're actually kind of spending a lot of money on just making the thing hold the mags, which is what it should do in the first place. But I think that is kind of what you pay for when you get something this modular. And this is pretty cool though, because I can actually switch between different weapons using the same exact piece of gear. That being said, these actually also can technically hold radios, or if you do have just 2 of these, there is kind of enough space to put something like a Baofeng next to them if you want to. Beyond the main magazine cells, on either side of the chest rig, you also have some elastic handgun magazine pouches. Now on the left one, I do keep my handgun magazine there, spare one, and it's secured in by this little bit of shot cord with a nice pull tab on it. That keeps it nice and secure in place. And on the other side, I actually opt to keep my Leatherman Skeletal in there, which is very useful to have at hand. Beyond that, you can opt to use these for things like flashlights, pepper spray, Twix bars, whatever you want. It's very nice to have that little added functionality on this chest rig. Moving right along, we have the admin pouch in the very front. Now, this one is secured by a zipper, of course, and I just want to mention that the zipper on this one was recently replaced. The original zipper got stuck, it got ripped, and it eventually just kind of tore at the seams. So that's not very strategic, Mr. Haley. Not very strategic at all. I'm just kidding. I mean, this thing has been through absolute hell and back for many years at this point. I'm surprised it's otherwise still in one piece, so it's done pretty good, but I did want to mention that. That being said, I like to keep my notes in here, keep some spare batteries, electrical tape, you name it. It's all held in place by these elastic loops. There's 4 of them in various sizes, which is really useful. If you also have some Velcro-based storage solutions that attach other things, you have some loop side Velcro on the inside here too. So that's pretty handy. I do really like that bit. And with that being said, it does have its disadvantages, of course. You are going to be this much higher off the ground if you go prone. If that's a concern for you, you definitely want to consider this. You may want to think about getting something else with a dangler instead, but otherwise, this is a very, very nice, useful all-in-one package. I, of course, should mention the straps. These are all attached by buckles, nothing weird or proprietary there, but I thought I'd mention that. And you have, of course, your belly band here, which wraps around the lower section of your torso. And above it, you have your shoulder straps, which are an X harness. Now, some people really prefer H harnesses, and some people really prefer X harnesses. I think it's very subjective and entirely dependent on your body. That being said, I do think the X harness is very comfortable for me. I also think that it can get a little sloppy sometimes and things kind of just slide around, but in my experience, it hasn't been really debilitating, and you can get a separate H harness that Haley makes. I just haven't felt the need to actually get it just yet. I might do that in the future, but I just want to let you know. You also have these sections of looped nylon here on either end at the base of the straps. These allow you to attach MOLLE attachments or your push-to-talk or route cables through, what have you. Really nifty little bit there. I also want to mention a couple of things that I opted to add to this chest rig, namely the Ferro Concepts Wingman elastic radio pouch here. I always try to be able to carry my radio in all my setups, and I also have this elastic loop here for my tourniquet. I think everybody should carry as many tourniquets as they can if they're shooting guns, and it's really nice to have one that's readily accessible right here. That being said, your mileage may vary. You can do whatever you want, but with the miracles of Velcro, you can pretty much add anything to this, so pretty cool. All in all, this is a very solid chest rig. It checks all the boxes that I need in a chest rig, and it doesn't do it without being too big. It fits on my plate carrier very well, and it's held up very well throughout the years, minus the zipper, of course, and I'm going to continue to use it for many years to come. Next, I have the Hevalti Tacticool Triple Recce Rig. This was designed by Jesse at Hevalti after he did a bunch of different 5 to 10K run and gun biathlons. He was specifically looking for something that was lower profile than the Spiritus Mark IV that he was using, while still allowing him to be as mobile as possible with it. Because this chest rig is almost entirely made of this really nice military grade elastic, it's very tough. It also has very good retention for the magazines, and it allows it to be very flexible. This allows it to contour to your body very well. You can fold this up and store it tightly in your range bag like this, or if you need something that's ready to go, it's really, really easy to store. Also, because of that elastic, again, it's very breathable, it's extremely comfortable, and as you breathe, it can expand and contract or give you full range of motion, whatever you need. This thing is absolutely grade A in terms of comfort. Unlike some other chest rigs out there, the Hevalti Micro included, this one is much lower profile, and that allows you to eat the dirt if you need to do any skull dragging. This one is going to give you the lowest profile possible. And that being said, if you need low profile for concealment purposes too, this one is extremely concealable under a hoodie or jacket. Now, in terms of magazine retention, all the retention is of course based on the elastic. That said, the elastic is very snug. You definitely don't need any straps up top to secure your magazines. These aren't going anywhere. Still, it's very easy to draw the magazines out. The only downside is re-indexing magazines is kind of a chore. Definitely not as easy as some sort of cell that has an internal plastic insert like the Hevalti does, or like the S-Tech mag shingles do, but you definitely still can re-index just fine. It's just going to be a bit more of a process and a little bit more involved. They do have these nice little tabs here which allow you to kind of pull the cells out a bit. That definitely makes the job a lot easier. So it's definitely not a thoughtless design. Everything that went into this was very, very well laid out. Because the cells are elastic, they're therefore, of course, flexible. You don't just have to put magazines in these. You can put things like a Baofeng radio, you can put a tourniquet in them, you can put a small IFAK in them, whatever you need. This can be a surprisingly modular and customizable platform. In terms of the straps, much like the Hevalti Micro, you have your buckled straps with a belly band on the lower section and your shoulder straps up top, which are, again, an X harness. These are actually surprisingly secure when I wear these. The chest rig does not shift around at all on my body. It's very consistent in terms of its positioning and is extremely comfortable. Now, one of the downsides is that this is strictly just a chest rig. This cannot attach to a plate carrier. There is no clips up top. There is no Velcro on the back to do so. That being said, they do make a swift clip variant for that specific purpose. Also, beyond that, they do make a quad cell variant if you do need some more ammo storage capacity. All in all, I haven't had this chest rig for too terribly long compared to the Hevalti. That being said, it feels very well constructed, the stitching is solid, and it's extremely comfortable. If anybody wants a bare bones, no frills, simple, minimalist chest rig, this is absolutely the best one I've seen so far. If you want to check them out, you can go to HevaltiTactical.com or check them out on Instagram too at Hevalti.tactical. I really hope you found this little look into chest rigs useful, whether you're trying to figure out if chest rigs are even right for you or if you're just reevaluating your setup. If you got your own suggestions for people out there, I would love to hear them in the comments below, so please feel free to chime in. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell too. Also, YouTube's been doing this weird thing where it just randomly unsubscribes people, so just be sure to check back there and make sure that you are subscribed still. I also really want to thank everybody on Patreon that has been supporting this channel. You make this possible. I don't run ads on this channel. I do not monetize it in any way other than that, and anything that you can do to help out is very, very graciously appreciated. If you want to go chip in, you can go to patreon.com/tacticalgf. You can see the end of the video for the names of my biggest contributors. With that all said and done, that's all I got for you today. I really appreciate you all tuning in. Please be good to each other out there. And as always, please take care. Bye!